Okay, so before we get this video underway, I wanted to give out a big plug over to the folks at the Prospect Network. This is a video where we're talking about the Habs and the potential 2020 NHL Entry Draft's top picks. And if you want a very good in-depth look, the lovely people over at TPN have put together a draft guide for the 2020 draft. It's only $7, and it's 300 pages of full-length prospect coverage and material. There are full in-depth scouting reports for 62 guys. Take a look at this over here for Quinton Byfield, for example. You have yourself an overview to him as a player as a whole, as well as supplemented in-depth paragraphs for skating, scoring, playmaking, puck skills, hockey IQ, and his all-around game. They do this for 62 guys, and they include shorter analyses for 38 extra guys. Not to mention a mock draft and a partition where they talk about the biggest sleepers in the draft. This is a very in-depth book. It's 300 pages, and it's only $7. That's cheaper than a very extreme venti cappuccino at Starbucks. So, with the draft coming up in about a week, and with topics like this, like we're going over in this video here, if you want more extended info on the draft, check out TPN. The link is in the description. They have a very, very good draft guide. But with that out of the way, let's get into today's video because, believe me, there's a very good reason we brought up the prospects here. We're talking about the Montreal Canadiens and their 2020 NHL Entry Draft plans. Because when it comes to what the Habs trading plan in general was, we did indeed go over that. We spoke a few days ago about how Marc Bergevin said to different parts of the media that no, he doesn't want to go after Patrik Laine, and no, he doesn't want to go after Taylor Hall. First off, Hall's a guy who would kind of throw off the entire economic situation of the Habs, and Patrik Laine is a guy who is very, very expensive, and the price to pay would be more detrimental than positive for the team. But Bergevin did note how he wants to get himself a big, powerful scorer that can help out the Canadiens on the wing. And this is kind of where the speculation opens up, because with that idea, Bergevin also ignited that he was open to trading away prospects and picks to get that roster forward. This is important because we know the Canadiens have a ton of prospects, they have a ton of picks, so Bergevin looking to invest those into the now seems like a possibility that could arise. And we have ourselves some brand new interviews and speculative reports by people on TSN that talk just about the Montreal Canadiens and that 16th overall pick in general. Take a look at this. This was on TSN Insider Trading a few days ago. The headline reads here on Reddit that the Habs are open to trading the 16th overall pick for a top 6 forward. Now that in itself is quite big. The Canadiens have not traded a first-round pick of theirs in over a decade, pretty much. They've been stocking up on those first-round talents, putting them into their organization, and for the first time in what feels like forever, we're having an opportunity where Bergevin feels the team is good enough on the young core side of things that maybe a trade with that pick could be seen as valuable. Take a look at this. We have ourselves another article on The Athletic written by Arpon Basu and Marc-Antoine Gaudin. Marc Bergevin wants to move the Habs from the future into the present, and this is what he says on that 16th overall pick. My pick is even more available than usual. Yeah. So that's interesting, eh? The 16th overall pick. I like the sound of that because normally in a draft, you would think, okay, top 20 picks, they're okay. You know, there are no top 10 picks, but a top 20 pick is a top 20 pick. It still has value to it. But I think that connotation is a little bit outdated, personally speaking, because even if you take a look at a 16th overall pick or a 15th pick or a 17th pick, whatever, you know what kind of players you can get at 16th overall? A year ago, the Habs drafted 15th, and they got Cole Caulfield. A year ago, Peyton Krebs and Alex Newhook were taken at the 16th and 17th spots. And these are prospects that many people can say maybe have elite ceilings. So these kind of picks can indeed be seen as very valuable. And in fact, there's another quote over here that was posted on Twitter from that article that I very like here too. Trading the 16th overall pick for a player that has 1 year left on his contract before becoming a free agent, that's not the smartest thing to do either. So I think there's a very, very intriguing idea here that brings itself up because when you take a look at it, even just looking at this year's draft, just taking a look at some of the guys who are available at 15, 16, and 17, you can kind of get a sense as to the value of these picks. TSN and Bob McKenzie, their list kind of goes over it all over here. Go over to number 15 on their consolidated rankings, and it's Hendrix Lapierre, a guy who a lot of people thought could have become a top 10 pick in this draft if he just played the full season. You have Dylan Holloway, who is Cole Caulfield's teammate on the Wisconsin Badgers, who did not play all too great because the team wasn't amazing, but he's a very solid two-way puck-moving machine who works hard. You also have Braden Schneider, nice solid defensive defenseman who has his issues, but indeed has some value, and Seth Jarvis at 18. Man, slippery, great shot, great passing, great playmaker, very good offensive instincts. He has this ability to just get open space, and he's a guy who a lot of people are projecting to be much higher than 18th overall, like it's projected here on TSN. You also have Rodion Amirov, one of the more underrated picks in this entire draft. A guy playing in Russia who's just a very smart and skilled hockey player. He's the kind of guy who I honestly would not be surprised if he squeaked into that top 10. He could be that Vitaly Kravtsov of this year, if you ask me. Then going forward into some of these other picks, Lukas Reichel, one of the most dangerous, high offensive chance-creating players in this entire draft class. And going down the list, you have a little bit more guys. Jakob Perreault, Connor Zary, John Jason Paterka. These are some valuable prospects. And if the Canadiens are in a position where they may be able to give up the pick that could be used to select one of these players, imagine some of the possibilities. Because all of a sudden, if you are in a position where you trade not just a Max Domi or a Deneau or whatever, but you trade away a Domi and the 16th overall pick, just imagine the return you can get there. Even if Domi's an RFA, even if he is not guaranteed to stick with the team. Take a look at that. The value there. Domi and a 16th overall pick. Maybe you re-sign Domi to a contract just because you can, and you pull off the sign and trade. How would that look like on the value front? 5 years of Max Domi alongside of a really good prospect, maybe add in another pick or another prospect too, a C, B tier prospect. That sounds like a very attractive trade package that a lot of teams would probably be interested in biting on. So, for Marc Bergevin to sacrifice the future for the now, like we discussed a few videos ago, and potentially be in a position where the 16th overall pick is the ticket that allows him to do that, I'm all for it. This team has a lot of good young pieces already. But when it comes to the guys that are on the team, Suzuki, Kotkaniemi, Romanov, etc., plus the Cole Caulfield that everybody loves as well, there are a lot of attractive pieces outside of that body of players. And combined with a Domi, combined with a 16th overall pick, you could be setting yourselves up to do kind of the reverse of what Vegas did with their Pacioretty trade. Remember, Vegas sent over Suzuki, a second, and Thomas Tatar for Max Pacioretty. You could kind of reverse the situation here. Now, I know Habs fans think that they very much won that trade, but let's remember here, the Vegas Golden Knights got a lot of good service out of Max Pacioretty, and they're still probably going to get that for the next few years too. So, if you're like me, and you're interested in taking a look at some of these prospects, the ideas behind the trades and all that, then I encourage you to comment in the comment section below what you think about this whole process here. Would you be interested in giving up a 16th overall pick if it means getting yourself a big, strong, top 6 winger who can score goals? I know for me, certainly, it depends who's available at 16, and that's kind of why I'm so adamant on talking about the Prospect Network, because their book is very informative for anybody who is out there wanting to learn more about the prospects. I'm pretty sure anybody out there who's watching these kinds of videos, you see value in learning about prospects. So that's why I'll say it again. Some people spend way more than $7 a day on coffee. Take some of that, put it into this book, and you will be making yourself smarter when it comes to this draft. But when it comes to the rest of this idea here, there still are more things to consider. Could you package the pick with Domi? Could you package the pick with other prospects? Could you get somebody who has an extended contract coming back? And if that indeed is a possibility, who would you target? We talked about a few targets a few videos ago. We talked about Puljujarvi, Brandon Saad, Nino Niederreiter. Not a lot of these guys are players that I saw Habs fans in the comments saying that they were over the moon about, but still, talk talk to me in the comments what you think about these ideas regardless. I know for me personally, it really depends who would be coming back and who would be on the board at 16th, because we know how good some of these prospects can be. Again, Seth Jarvis. Imagine if that guy drops to 16th overall and the Habs decide to take him. Imagine what a Jarvis-Caulfield pairing could look like in the future. That would be absolutely tiny, but hey, what else is new in Habs Nation? Not much anyway. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below what you think of social. That's Troll9, and bye.